So with the resting postures, it's going to be the flip side of the same coin is movement. So we want our resting to look just like our movement. If we rest in an inside ankle bone low position, or if we rest outside of our columns, that's going to start showing up in our movement. So we don't want to do that. We need to start resting in positions that are going to be beneficial for when we go to move on the court or on the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll into a famous resting position that we call the Michael Jordan resting position, which is a hinged resting position where the femurs roll together. We got inside ankle bone high on GOATA BAM here. Inside the columns, he's back chain dominant. That means his hips are behind his rib cage. Now, all he should be here is relaxed. Now, one thing you should know about the resting positions is they might be a little tough to get into at first. You'll notice that with the positions on the ground when we get there. Now, the next resting position should be a fairly easy one for everybody. It is a crossover resting position where we're resting on the outside parts of our feet and we're still back chain dominant. We don't want to have a hip thrust when we do any of these exercises. That doesn't show up on the field of the court. Everything that we do revolves around forward movement. We got to have a forward lean. So after we master those standing resting positions, those simple ones, we need to take it to the ground. The ground is our savior. It's going to heal us. So as we get to the ground, we're going to work in a seiza position or a child rocker position where the toes together, heels out. We got an upside down inside ankle bone high. Now he's going to stay with a good posture, nice long decompressed spine with the rib cage in front of the hips. As we get into this position, you're going to notice that you might have a little tightness in the quads, a little tightness in the ankles. So work your way slowly into this position and you'll find ways to do that. We've got exercises, we've got the child rocker, Bam's doing it right there. And it'll get a little bit easier as you go. Now, the next resting position is going to be a single leg version of the child rocker, which is the cowboy position, where he's going to be resting on the outside edge of the foot that's in the foot that's on the ground, inside ankle bone high, in his inside of his columns. He doesn't want to be outside of the columns. Like I said, if we rest outside of the columns, if we do anything where the foot goes out, the inside ankle bone goes low, that's going to start showing up on the field. Again, one thing I forgot to mention with the seiza position is the W sit. That's one that's very common in babies. If you see your child doing this, if you see anybody doing that, fix them and get them inside ankle bone high. It's a terrible position. You can see Bam struggling in that position. So after you get the seiza position down, you get both the cowboy positions down. You can do it on either leg. We're going to go into a crisscross applesauce position, which is common to see in like kindergarten, young kids. Teachers always make kids sit like this when they're young, but we lose it when we get into the chairs. So inside ankle bone high should be the number one goal in this position. Loosen up the hips, rib cage, and spine decompress. As you can see, it's pretty easy to get inside ankle bone high in this position. The top of the foot just sits. But now, Bam's going to show you a master resting position, which is the full lotus. This is the highest inside ankle bone high a human can get. This is a position that should only be attempted if you've mastered all the rest of the other resting positions, because this one requires very, very loose hips and very loose ankles. Bam's got it. Now, the next resting position is going to be the resting squat. This position takes a long time to get into if you're a front chain dominant person, so don't get frustrated if you can't get it right away. Bam's really, really good at this. He's a hypermobile person, so he can get into it into his corners and into his bows. Now, when he sits in this position, his feet are inside of his columns. Inside ankle bone high, as usual, and he's got his butt back. He's got a long, decompressed spine here. Now, show him what a rounded back looks like here. So this is what When you first start doing this, you're gonna have this rounded back. If it's tough for you to get in this position, you're gonna feel a stretch in your back. That's okay, but you need to just use support in front of you, something like a pole or something, so you can really get that long decompressed spine. Now, the last resting position is gonna be your fetal position, or a sleeping resting position. Now, the sleeping resting position is gonna be back chain dominant as well. As he gets into it, you notice his spine is long and decompressed. He's not hunched over. Show him what a hunched over back would look like. Yeah, so that would be kind of a protective mechanism, but we don't wanna sit like that when we sleep. We wanna have the long decompressed spine. That's the goal. So we can keep that when we're on the field or on the court. Now, his inside ankle bones stay high. He can have his top arm in one of two positions, where he's folded up right here, or he can be decompressed down by his hip down here. You want to show him that again? Yep, opening up the shoulder. And then the other arm just rests either under a pillow or under his head right here. And that's pretty much how you were going to want to sleep. And those are going to be your resting positions.